What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fantasy Files Podcast, the podcast that wastes hours of your life that you're never getting back. We are your co-hosts, Spencer and Gabe, and today we are chatting about Fairy Tale by Stephen King. This is a book that Gabe got recommended by a friend, recommended to by a friend,
Yep.
and yeah, we just read it and we decided that we had to do an episode on it. So that's what we're here to do today. We will be spoiling it. So if you haven't read it, then I would recommend going and reading it first of all, because I thought it was pretty freaking good. And then coming back and joining in on our discussion. Now, if you want to reach out to us, you can do so using the links in the description. We got Twitter, we got Discord, we got Patreon, where you can see these episodes live as we record them weeks ahead of when anybody on YouTube gets to see the edited episode, and you get to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Gabe and I were just talking for about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, even longer, I think.
Yeah, we were talking about trucks and cars and tattoos and funny moments and work stuff. So if you just want to see us chit chat and just be friends backstage, then join us over on Patreon. It's only $3 a month, and you get access to all of our content before anybody else. With that being said, I don't think I have anything else to plug, so we're gonna go right into it and talk about Fairy Tale by Stephen King. Now, this is an interesting one. I hadn't read the book, obviously, but there was a couple times in the past that I had said, we should read Fairy Tale by Stephen King. And you were like, yeah, okay. And then we never did. And then you have a buddy that's like, hey, you've got to read Fairy Tale by Stephen King. And so I was like, okay, so when somebody else tells you to read it, you do it.
I don't remember that. Well, of course I don't. I don't remember much of anything, but...
No, I don't expect... It was like a one-off comment sometime.
Yeah.
It was... But you had a friend that came to you and said, like, hey, you got to read this book.
Yeah, I did. I met a new friend in the last couple weeks that we were playing some games together. A friend of a friend that I played some games with, and we become game buddies, playing lots of games together. And he had this one-off comment about Red Rising, and it was kind of a subtle thing. And I was like, wait, hold on a second. And we got
you
to
read
talking
fantasy?
Yeah, we got to talking about books, and I told him kind of my style of books I like, and he's like, have you read Fairy Tale by Stephen King? And I was like, I have not. And he's like, all right, you need to read it. Okay, cool. But if I read Fairy Tale, you have to read King's Dark Tidings.
Oh, did he?
He hasn't yet, but I've talked to him about it almost every day.
Okay, well, hopefully he does. The more people we can get on the King's Dark Tidings train, the better.
Yep.
But yeah, you had started it, and then you texted me, or maybe we were on a phone call or something, and you were like, I am just loving this book so much.
Yep.
Obviously you're a dog person, which this book kind of
the first thing that really sucked me in was the dog, for sure.
Right.
And not just there being a dog, but this book revolves around a dog.
Yeah,
the entire book is for the dog.
Yeah, and I love.
Well, I guess until the end, maybe.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is too, and remember, anybody watching, we're going into spoilers, so just be aware.
Shut your ears. If you don't
when Charlie, he's just starting to get to know Bowditch, and he says something to the effect of, Bowditch was a surly old man, and I understand why nobody likes him, but I loved Bowditch because he loved Radar.
Yeah.
And I saw the love, even with all of his grumpiness, even with all of his surliness, and how he can be like off-putting and all these things. All of that can be true. But I also I also like love him because I see how much he
Yeah,
cares for this dog, and that's kind of where you get to see Bowditch's soft side
for sure.
early
I think he
on.
sees that it's kind of a character thing, you know, like when,
Right.
you know, you see somebody that respects and loves and takes care of their dog, or it doesn't have to be a dog, it could be anything, but it shows that even though dude's an asshole to
Yeah.
99% of the population,
Hmm.
he's still got a heart, and he still knows how to love, and he still knows how to, you know,
Right.
care for and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. He even goes so far as to say in those early chapters when Charlie's like, "We got to get you to the hospital." He's like, "I'll just bring the dog to the hospital." And Charlie's like, "They're not going to let
Yeah,
you do
you
that."
can't do that.
And
I'll take care of
he's
the dog.
yeah, and Bowditch is like, "Well, then I'll just stay here." He's like, "You have a broken leg. Like you
Yeah.
can't just no, you have to
And
go to
you're
the
like
hospital."
60, you have to go.
Yeah.
You fell off a ladder, god damn it.
Bowditch just like staying home with a broken leg. Like what the
Yeah, he
hell?
would. He's the kind of guy that would.
Yeah. But yeah, other than, obviously I would say we both loved the book. I read it twice, and I think on my second read through, I understand this book has very mixed reviews.
Mm,
If you weren't aware of the kind of the release of this book, I think a lot of people thought it was going to tie into Stephen King's Dark Tower series because there's a lot of similarities between this book and the Dark Tower. Um, and so I think people were kind of disappointed that Charlie didn't grow up to be like Roland or something.
mm.
But I think some other people had mixed reviews on it because they liked the first half of the book where Charlie is in the real world dealing with Bowditch and Radar and stuff, and then they actually liked it less when he gets to the fantasy land.
Hmm.
And when I read it the first time, I was like, I don't know. I liked all of it almost equally. Like there's one part that I really didn't care for, but for the most part, I loved the whole book.
Yeah,
And then when I read it the second time, I still felt the same way, but I was like, yeah, I can kind of see what they're getting at. I like the book kind of like just goes a different direction in the second half, and I can see how if you really liked the first half, how you just want to keep going with that.
totally,
So
totally.
part of me gets it, but I think I more or less very much enjoyed the whole thing. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, because it is very different, and it
Hmm.
becomes vastly different. You know, the only thing that stays the same are just the two characters,
Right.
and so that is kind of a, kind of a weird thing, a weird concept. And I would agree. I think I probably enjoyed the first part more just because it was kind of real stuff. But I also
Yeah.
love fantasy, so it was cool to go see
Right.
another world and all everything else. Um, I don't know. I overall, I'd say I'd give it a, I don't know, maybe 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd probably be in the same ballpark. I think that if God, because it really is almost like two different books.
Yes, it is.
And if I was just doing a rating on the first half of the
Hmm.
book, I think it would be easily 10 out of 10
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Like I was texting Gabe throughout the whole first half of that book and I'm like, I'm crying again. I'm
yeah,
crying
yeah,
again. I'm
yeah. We
crying again
did a
because it
lot of
was just like
sobbing.
sometimes it was happy tears, sometimes it was very sad
Yeah.
tears, sometimes it was just like a really emotional moment that wasn't like sad or
Or
happy, but
happy.
it still
Yeah,
brought
dude.
tears.
Yeah.
And so I think that some of those moments uh, provoked maybe like the biggest emotional response I've had to a book since King Killer or something
Mm,
like that. Like some of
yeah.
those moments just really, really tugged on my heartstrings
Yep.
and just absolutely killed me. But then you get into the second half of the book, and that's probably where I'd be in the 7.5
Yeah.
territory, where it's just kind of like it's like a generic fantasy story, and the main reason that you're there is because you've already come to care about the characters and you want to see what happens to them and
Yeah. I do
everything.
think that there's a really cool. They have a really cool premise in
Yeah.
that in the fantasy world, like a really cool problem
Yes.
that is very intriguing and a really cool reason, and
Yeah.
also kind of a really cool bad guy.
Yeah, yeah. The bad guy was really cool. I liked the idea of that. I liked the idea of
The gray.
um, the gray and just kind
Yep.
of like the problem that they're all
Yeah.
facing. Like he shows up and everybody's face is like smeared,
He
and
takes all the goodness, like good looks and good anything
hmm
from all these people. Like all their
yeah,
best qualities go away. Like,
hmm
your best quality was listening, you can't hear anymore. Your best quality was speech, you can't talk anymore.
right,
You know?
yeah, yeah. And so yeah, I really liked that problem that
Yeah.
he gets there. And not only does he have to get his dog to the sundial, but there's also this other problem going on. And one of the things that I thought was really good was, kind of later on in the second half of the book, Bowditch tells Charlie, um, something like cowards bring gifts, or brave men help, but cowards bring
That's
gifts
it.
or
That's
something.
it.
And it's like, what does that mean? You're kind of trying to figure it
You
out.
don't find out until the end,
Like,
unless you put it
yeah,
together prior.
yeah, pretty much the very end, you kind of see the whole picture
Yeah.
because, as Charlie is going through this fantasy world, he's finding all these things where he's like, that had to be from Bowditch.
Yeah.
Like this guy
A
has an
battery.
electric light. Yeah,
Yeah. Like a
like,
car battery and
right.
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, like he had to have brought that down here. And so you can, even after Bowditch dies, you continue to learn more about him where, he had come back to this fantasy world many times. And every time he would bring a gift that he thinks would help them. Because imagine if you could just go to medieval England and you had a free pass between here and there. And it's like, wouldn't you bring some like technology with you? Like, hey, this is gonna make like making bread way, way faster and
Yeah.
easier. And like stuff like that. That'd be super interesting.
Yep.
um and so it's cool to see him, kind of jump over there, and he's got like all these things, and Dora has some Converse shoes that he gave her and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. Um, but anyway, I guess we're kind of going into specifics, but for me, general thoughts. One thing I wanted to mention is that one of my favorite movies of all time is Big Fish with Ewan McGregor. Have you seen this movie, Gabe?
Mm-mm.
Okay, we should watch it sometime, because it's literally, I mean, it's up there with Titanic. It's like
We
one of
should
my,
watch it this weekend.
yeah, we should. I love it. I love it so much. This book reminded me so much of Big Fish,
Is
and
there
I
a dog?
think I cannot remember. I can't remember.
That's all right.
Yeah, I'd have to check.
I'm
But
just messing.
I'm sure there's some sort of animal companion because there's so many characters that come in
Yeah.
and out. But I would tell anybody, if you really liked this book, or even if you were more of a fan of the first half and wanted to see the second half be done a little bit differently, I would recommend watching this movie, because basically what it is that Ewan McGregor, I forget his character's name, but his dad is dying, and Ewan McGregor is like this busy like business guy, and he's always kind of distracted. He doesn't really spend a whole lot of time with his dad, And I think his dad was kind of like absent when he was a kid, and so he doesn't, he just hasn't been able to spend that much time with him. But as his dad is dying, he's trying to spend more time with him, and his dad is like, I'm gonna tell you the story of my life. And he starts telling him about all of these fantastical things that he's seen. Like, I joined the circus and then I went touring and I met like a cyclops, and the cyclops had a pet unicorn. And then as I continued on my journey, I was like jumping on trains and I met this two-headed person. And he talks about all these like very fantastical people that he's met that can't possibly exist.
Yeah.
And so Ewan McGregor is like, all right, Dad. And he's just like letting him, he kind of thinks that his dad is losing his mind, and he's telling him all of this
Oh,
like
okay.
really fantastical. He's like, he's at the end of his life. This is all made up, like all that stuff. And then his dad dies, and I forget what starts him on the journey, but there's an inciting incident where like somebody from his dad's past like reaches out or something like that, and he ends up following in his dad's footsteps, and he follows his dad's story. Like his dad said, I went here first, then I went here, and then I went here. So Ewan McGregor goes on essentially a road trip to follow like everywhere his dad said that he went. And he ends up seeing that his dad wasn't lying. Like when Ewan really starts following in his footsteps, he starts meeting all these people that his dad knew, and there are these fantastical people out there, and
Wow.
it's really cool and it's really interesting. The movie is a total not like acid trip, but it's very bright and
Yeah.
fantastical, but it's set in the real world. It's not supposed to be like a fantasy land.
Yeah.
And so it's a movie that'll make you cry so hard. Um and
My
kind of,
favorite kind of movie.
yes, it's so good. It's so heartwarming. And it's funny, and it's like there's drama and romance and all the things that you want from a movie. It's all
Tim
there.
Burton directed it.
Yes. Yep. And
Also, the
so
main character's name was Edward.
Edward, thank you. Um, and so yeah, I highly recommend it to anybody who likes this book, because it's kind of the same thing where Charlie is, getting to know Bowditch, and then at the end of Bowditch's life, he tells Charlie, I went to this like fantasy land, and like that's where I got all the gold, and if you go there you'll meet there's a sundial that'll turn time back. And Charlie's like, Jesus Christ, he's lost his mind, hasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when Charlie actually starts following in Bowditch's footsteps, he goes through the shed and he meets Dora, the person that Bowditch talked about. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh my God, this is real. And then as he, comes back with radar, they start passing, landmarks that Bowditch talked about. He's like, you'll see my signs. I like painted the way for you to follow, or for somebody to follow. And you'll get to Lillimar, and when you get there, like, it's a really scary place, so be careful. And then when you go around Lillimar, you'll see this sundial. And it was just so cool to see Charlie like get this story from Bowditch, and then get to live out, like essentially get to live out Bowditch's story.
Yeah.
But instead of being a coward and bringing gifts, he decides to stay and help.
And be a hero.
Yeah. And
The
so
prince that was chosen, or the prince that was given, or something.
I think it was the prince that was promised.
Promise. Thank you. That's it for sure.
Um,
Did you get? I thought this was funny.
mhm.
When I was reading this for the first time, there was a point in time in the first half before the second half that I was convinced that this book was about leprechauns.
Really?
Could you see why?
The gold?
The gold, and not only after the gold comes, here comes a little Irish guy.
Hmm.
that tries
Yeah.
to steal the gold.
Okay.
I was convinced. I texted my friend that told me about this book, and I was like, dude,
Yeah.
don't mess with me. Is this about leprechauns? And he's like, I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you.
That's such a funny thing to text somebody.
Yeah.
Don't mess with me. It's just about
Yeah.
leprechauns.
Yeah. And he thought so too. Um, I was pleasantly surprised it wasn't, but I was convinced, dude, for like an hour, maybe 2 hours of reading, that I was like, it's got to be leprechauns somewhere, dude. There's leprechauns somewhere that are trying to get this gold back.
That's so fucking
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that so
Yeah.
much. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. Is this about leprechauns? Oh, what a funny text to get at 1 a.m. or something. You
Yeah,
know,
it probably was actually that late
don't
too.
don't fuck with me, man. Is there leprechauns in this book? Like, I'd just be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so stupid. So
No,
stupid.
that's great. I can see how you would reach that conclusion
I
for
just because
sure.
I just saw the gold and the gold was a focus.
Yeah,
Like, oh my god, this gold. And then this little fucking Irish guy comes with a gun
right.
and tries to steal the gold. And I was like,
Aha.
yeah. And he was exactly just like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's gotta be leprechauns, dude. Gotta be.
Oh, that's so funny. That never it I don't think it ever once entered my mind, but
Yeah,
I completely understand how you
I
got
had this
to
like
that
big
point.
epiphany, and I was so convinced, dude. So convinced I was right. Was not right,
Oh,
by the way.
that's great.
Yeah.
I love that's what I love about theory crafting, man, is that you read a good book and it poses an idea to you and you come up with this idea that you can be completely convinced of. And I almost think that a book is even better when you're wrong because then it surprises you.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the beautiful things about reading and just theory crafting is that you know even if you make a theory and you're wrong, it's still fun. Like it's still a great experience to like guesstimate and put all the pieces together and to think that you have it right and everything. It's I don't know. I just love that about books so much. Um okay, so what did you just the main character as Charlie as a
Charlie. Yeah.
character. What did you think of him? We were in his point of view. The Charlie that is telling us the story is 9 years in the future. This is like a
Yeah.
frame narrative where this is the story that he's writing or whatever. What did you think of him like as a character?
I really, really liked him as a character.
Hmm.
I was very like kind of attached to his beginning,
Yeah.
um, which is where a lot of the emotion came from. Was
Hmm.
all the stuff, his mom passed away in a terrible accident.
Yeah.
His dad became a drunk out of just pure depression and sadness.
Yeah.
And, this poor kid was like trying to hold together, him and his dad. He loved his dad. He loved his mom. Mom's gone. He's got to take care of dad. And he
Right.
just fought every day for his dad to get better. And so that in and of itself, if that was the end, would be, like very touching and
Yeah.
very emotional. But seeing and after that, seeing him grow kind of into this man that, from all this conflict has these values that he's really true to, and he really like
Right.
wants to that he talks about a lot. He did some after his mom died, he was hanging out with some people that did some really bad shit,
Yeah.
really shady stuff, really stuff that he's felt awful about ever since. And so I feel like as a character, he's always trying to like make the next day better, and I really appreciate that. It's like one of those things that's I admire in a character.
Yeah.
I think it's an awesome value to hold. So that's
Yeah.
I guess would be in a nutshell, kind of my feelings on him.
Yeah, for sure. I think, when I started the book, I was like, okay, is Charlie just kind of be like a baseline character where he doesn't really have, too much of a personality. He's just like a vehicle to tell this story
Yeah,
through. And then, I mean, within just a couple chapters, uh, it was very clear that I was going to like him, um, kind of in the same way that I like Harry, like the actual character of Harry Potter, where in spite of all of these horrible things that have happened to him, like you wouldn't really hold it against somebody who had the kind of upbringing that he had. You wouldn't hold it against a 17-year-old kid. If he was older, then sure, but you
Yeah,
wouldn't hold it against a 17-year-old kid to be jaded and mean and
for
kind of
sure.
look at the world through a cynical lens
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah, he's got a lot of reasons to hate.
Yeah, he's got a lot of reasons to hate, and in spite of that, he is caring and loving and wants to help people. He's not a pushover, but he's also, he knows how to stand up for himself,
Yeah,
but he's also, he cares deeply. And, you see that with his interactions with his dad, where, um, he was part of the equation that got his dad sober and
yeah.
everything. And yeah, I think he's a great character. I always love reading about somebody that has a really bad upbringing and has every right in the world
To be
to be.
angry and mean and just yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I'm with you 100%.
exactly. Yeah,
100%. I also do want to say too that the caring and love that you were like just talking about
yeah,
after, because we see the kind of the resolution of the family matter, right? Like his dad gets sober and he does a really good job, and
right.
Charlie is super supportive. They do awesome. But then you're like, okay, that hill's crossed, and now he meets Adrian and Radar,
Right.
and Radar's like another kind of the same thing. Like he you know starts to care for this just dog that he met, and it
Yeah.
becomes like, I mean, it becomes like his family member. It's like his
Yeah.
dog is dying, and he wants there's a way, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it happen because there's a way.
Right.
Yeah,
And at the same time, I felt like his I felt like Radar his relationship with Bowditch was not dependent on Radar. I think Radar was a a way for them to connect easier, where they both realized that they both cared about this dog. But the thing that's interesting about Charlie is that he didn't even know about the dog when he went to go help Bowditch.
well,
Um, you know,
he did know about the
well,
dog,
he
but
knew about the dog, but he wasn't like connected to it. You know what I mean?
no,
Like
and the only story he had about the dog was it was just this
it was
vicious
mean,
monster that wanted to kill everything. So
right?
yeah, no, but other than that, he didn't. He had no
Yeah.
connection to the dog.
And so I guess what I'm getting at is that his like it might be easy to look at him as a character and say, if you're looking at it in a very uncharitable light, you'd be able to say, well, the only reason he's helping Bowditch is because he wants Radar, or like because he like loves this
Yeah,
dog or whatever. But I don't think that's the case. I think
no,
Charlie is just like a good person
yeah,
and would have helped Bowditch whether Radar was there or not. And it just so happened that Radar was like a bond for them, like
yep,
something that made them bond faster.
yeah,
Um, and I loved just like all the moments where Adrian or Howard or whatever is
yeah,
yeah, is like asking him, like what do you want for this? Like, do you want money or what? And Charlie's like, no, like I wasn't expecting any money. Like I just wanted to help. And it takes Adrian a while to
to
kind of
believe, yeah,
to
that that's
believe
even
that.
possible.
And yeah, and then they have a discussion. I think it was when he was telling Charlie about the gold.
Yeah,
And he's like, you said that you would have done this completely free with no expectations, and I believe that's true. And even his dad said a number of times, like, you would do this even if he wasn't paying you, wouldn't
Yeah.
you? And Charlie's like, yeah, like I just wanted to do it. And we'll talk about why in a minute because this is maybe one of my favorite parts of the book. Um, you know, he's like, yeah, I would have. And I love the moment so much where his dad asks that, Charlie says yes, and then his dad says, "I'm so proud of you."
Yeah.
It's just like anytime, for some reason, in any book, when a parent tells their child that they're like proud of them, that always makes the waterworks start for me.
Oh, for sure, dude.
I don't know why. It's just such a, I don't know. Like you hear it every now and then, like kind of in like an off the cuff, like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you" or whatever. But there are moments in certain media and certain books where the parent is like, "No, I am proud of you, son."
Yeah.
And those are the moments. Those are
Yeah.
the fantastic moments. Um, so we'll talk about why he's doing this for Bowditch at the beginning, but real quick, as before we leave, general thoughts. I just want to say this before I forget. But Leah kind of sucks, does she not? I really did not like Leah. I thought she was like a well written character, but just as a person, I just hated Leah or Leia or whatever her name was. And I think at the end she shouldn't have been queen. I think it should have been given to someone else, because especially at the end, it's really getting hammered in that she ignored all the warnings about her brother and was willing to be, just kind of like close her head off to that. 'Cause she's like, I don't want to believe that my brother is the Dark Lord or whatever. Like I just want to live in my fairy tale over here with my geese. And she let the whole kingdom go into ruin, and she just ignored the fact that her brother was becoming this like dark thing, when she could have potentially done something to stop it. And we
Keyword
find out.
potentially. Because I agree with you. I agree.
Sure.
That kind of a crappy thing to do. And she admits that in the end.
Hmm.
She's very sorrowful for the way that she acted, blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, I feel like it's a toss up. Like, she could have maybe done something, but she also maybe couldn't have changed a thing. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
torn between dislike and like, because I really like her as a character. And I
Yeah.
think that, like, in the story, I think it works the way that, she is, but it kind of
Yeah.
maybe makes her a bad person slightly.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, the thing that I do like about it is that for the story, it works pretty well because
Yeah.
it's real. It's like a real human flaw
Exactly. And yeah, that's
where,
where my sympathy comes into play, I think. I'm like,
yeah,
oh man, that's terrible. Because I could see myself wanting to ignore signs too and just be
yeah,
comfortable.
right. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty like normal human
Yeah.
reaction to stay in your safe space
Yeah.
and kind of not break the boundaries very much. And also you want to think the best of people, especially your family.
Yeah.
And so I understand that, and that's what I'm saying. It was well written.
Yeah.
I liked the way that she was written. I thought it was plausible. I didn't think there was like a plot hole or anything. But just her as a person, I was like, really? You're gonna hand her the kingdom again? Like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
I
she's
would
ready this time.
hopefully, I hope so, because she couldn't even face her brother without the help of Charlie, and he's gone now.
Yeah.
And so I hope that she's got more of a backbone now and stuff. But even at the end, the thing that really pissed me off about her, I didn't really like I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't necessarily like the romance between Leia and Charlie. Um, I'm usually the romance guy on the podcast. I'm usually the one that cares a lot about if the two characters live
Yeah,
happily ever after together.
yeah, the romance was kind of funky, and it didn't
It
really even
was.
it happened until the end, and it was like 3 minutes of like,
Yeah.
is she gonna kiss me? Oh
Right.
no, I
Yeah.
can't kiss you.
Right.
That was
Yeah,
like
it
the
was
extent of it.
yeah, it was kind of weird. It was kind of the romance in general kind of went out with a whimper in this book. But I think the romance could have been done better. But I guess my point is that at the end, her reason for not continuing the romance was not really the age difference. Like he was worried about it, but it didn't sound like she was. What she told him was that every time I look at
Oh
you,
yeah, I see
I
that I failed.
yeah, she's like, I see that I failed, but she also says, I every time I look at you, I will remember you forcing me to face my brother,
Yeah,
and like I can't, like I don't know if I can quite let go of that. And
yeah,
it's like, bitch, you're saying it's his fault? You should have been dealing with this from the beginning. What are you talking
yeah,
about? He didn't
yeah.
force you to do shit.
That's
Like
fair. That's
this
fair.
is this is just something you should have done. And so yeah, I have so many problems with Leah or Leia. I don't remember how it's pronounced,
I think
but
it's like Leia. I want to
Leia,
say, yeah,
just like just as a person, like I said, I think she was well written. I thought she was realistically written, with like flaws and stuff, and she wasn't some girl boss that came in and just kicked everybody's ass once she got into the castle or whatever. But I was just like I kind of just don't like you as a person, which I feel is almost even more damning than saying I didn't like the writing. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. That's
So
yeah,
yeah, those are just my two cents on Leia.
fair 2 cents.
Okay, so let's dive into a couple favorite moments. Like we've talked about most of them, I
Oh
think.
yeah, yeah,
But I wanted to bring up, we talked about why Charlie is helping Bowditch, and it's because of the child's prayer. His father is drinking, and I just love this prayer that he sends up where he's like, if you help me with this, I will do something for you no matter what it is.
yep,
Like you tell me what you want and I will do it. And I love the way he describes it. He's like, it was a child's prayer. Like it was it
the
wasn't like
whimsical, like just hope.
innocent. Yeah, like
Yeah,
it was this it wasn't this prayer from the pulpit or anything, or like this really like well thought out prayer. It was just like, if you help me with this, I will help you in whatever way you want me to. And his dad gets sober, and Charlie keeps up his end of his promise, and he's like, I am gonna be on the lookout. I think it even says that he was like cleaning up trash in parking lots or something. And he was like, this can't be what God or whoever wants
yeah,
from me. He's like, it feels like I'm not doing enough. And so, when he's walking home that night and he hears Radar and he sees Bowditch, he was kind of like, this is my moment. And he follows through on it, even with Bowditch being like this grumpy old man who's not, easy to get along with, especially at first. And he like actively tries to stop people from helping him and stuff. And Charlie is just like, no, I made a promise when I was a child, and whatever God is out there held up their end of the bargain, and my dad is sober, and so I'm gonna hold up mine, and he
yep.
keeps hanging on to that. And then of course there's Radar, and he wants to stay for that too.
But
Um,
even after Radar, like even like more towards the end, there's times where like there's a choice to be made,
mm,
and he inner monologue, he brings up that prayer
Yeah.
and the importance of the prayer to him. He's like,
Right.
this is why I'm doing this. It's not because, it's not because somebody asked me to. It's because what I owe. I
Right.
owe this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was just a really good driving
Yeah.
force for the book. And even when he's in Impus, and he's like, he had gotten Radar turned back into a younger dog, and he was like, I could go home. He's like,
Yeah.
we could just go home.
And then he gets captured.
Yeah, and then he gets captured. And then through all of that, he kind of realizes that he needs to do something
Yeah. And he's
to
kind
help
of
this
chosen
place.
to do something
Right. Yeah, there is a bit of like destiny at play.
for sure.
His hair starts changing a different color,
Same with
and
his eyes.
in
Hair,
his
I can
eyes.
understand. Eyes, they don't change when you're an adult.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
something mystical going on there.
Right. Exactly. Um, and I will say, there's so much I loved about this book, but I gotta say I don't think this is anything necessarily wrong with the writing. I think it's just a personal preference. But I hate it whenever a character is imprisoned in some way.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, I hate it whenever somebody's
I
like,
like that whole sequence a lot.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I feel like inherently, as going to jail does, I feel like it inherently stops progress. Like it stops. Um, like obviously he gets to a point where he's able to do everything later,
Yeah.
but I feel like it inherently stops momentum. Maybe not progress, but
Yeah.
it
That's fair.
inherently stops the momentum
Definitely stopped
of the
Charlie's
book.
momentum.
Yeah, because like you're going and you're seeing new places and meeting new characters and going and going and going and going, and then you're in jail for 5 chapters. And I was just like, like I never like it. Even when there's a character in King's Dark Tidings that gets imprisoned for a couple books, and those are my least favorite parts of the series. That like stopped all momentum for that character in that series, and we're still seeing the effects of it. Like even in this latest book, we were like, we only saw that character for like less than a chapter, and I feel like a lot of it has to do with him, going into like being imprisoned, and then his story is just kind of like stopped for a little while because you're in prison. Like there's not much you can do to further your story while you're in prison.
Yeah.
Um, and
I see what you're
so,
saying, but at the same time, he the story did continue, maybe in a small way.
yeah,
It did.
it's just like in a different way. And I think what I was enjoying, even after, we get to the fantasy land, and it's very different than his time with Bowditch. But he was moving around and seeing new things, and there was more parts of the land to discover, and all this stuff. And then he's just like in one place for like 5 or 6 chapters. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, when I did my reread, I just skipped that part.
Jeez.
Yeah. I love this conversation between Charlie and Bowditch where Bowditch is in the hospital, and he's like, I'll take care of Radar, and like um I think it's when the topic of Bowditch needing care
Yeah.
afterwards comes up. And Charlie's like, I'll do it. And Bowditch says, why would you do that? Are you looking for pay or for a job? And Charlie's like, no, I just want to. And then Bowditch very cleverly says, would I be doing you a
Yeah.
favor if I let you do that?
He's no dummy. Boj is just no dummy.
Yeah. And Charlie says, indeed you would. And so I love this moment. And there's another one I think later on where Bowditch is like, are you like what are the two options he gives? He's like, are you trying to work your way into sainthood, or are you running from something, or are you trying to atone for something? And then he guesses a little bit incorrectly, but still pretty on the nose, where he's like, oh, you're trying to atone for something. And I don't think Charlie ever tells him the real
No.
answer. That
No.
would have been a really great conversation, I think.
Yeah.
But he's like, suffice it to say that yeah, I'm atoning for something. Like he kind of lets it go at that. Um, and yeah, I love that between them. There's a little bit of foreshadowing. I won't go through all these notes, but I did think this was interesting on a second read. Is early on, before anything happens with Bowditch, or at least like before he starts to like die or anything. Charlie walks into the backyard with Radar. He's like letting her go to the bathroom. And what the book says is that as she passed by the shed, she had like a certain spring in her step. And Charlie just notices it for a second. And he's like, oh, that was weird. And it's just like a super quick, like one sentence. And so it's really interesting foreshadowing that, like, as she got close to the shed, she got like kind of a renewed
Yeah.
energy. I'm like, this is pretty cool. Just pretty cool little
Yep.
foreshadowing there.
Want to know one of the parts that made me bawl my eyes out
Yes,
is when
please.
he first went down the well and through the tunnel, and when Radar saw Dora's house and saw Dora
Oh, yeah,
crying, dude,
yeah,
bawling my eyes out.
yeah. And
An old dog acting young again
yeah,
because he's so excited is something special,
yeah,
super
that's
special.
that's so great. And I thought, we didn't really talk about it, but the narrator for this book I thought was
It's
very good.
awesome. Yeah,
And I love the he does Dora's voice really well because she has a hard time speaking.
yeah,
And Radar jumps onto her, and I just love the hey,
yep.
hey,
Hey, girl.
hey,
She
like
says, "Hey,
oh
girl," but it's kind of
yeah,
muffled.
it's
Yeah,
all
it's so
kind of
sweet,
garbled and
so sweet.
so
Because even
good.
shortly after that, Radar's like she's at the end of her life.
Yeah,
She's dying. She is dying, a dying dog, and
yeah,
so it's I don't know, super cool.
yeah. Oh yeah, this is a great moment where Charlie's in the hospital with Bowditch, and he's just been hired, and Charlie he goes to wipe the sweat off of Bowditch's face,
Yeah,
and he kind of like recoils, and then he relents and he lets Charlie do it.
yep,
And he Charlie in his own POV, he's talking to us, and he says, we never realize when the turning points come in our relationships with others. And it wasn't until later when I realized that this was one of ours. Just like this really, just like this really sweet moment between them where he's like wiping the sweat off of Adrian's face. And yeah, it's just a good
yeah,
moment. Um, and Bowditch says something about it, and I love how Stephen King is able to go from these really sweet or even sad moments and make it funny. Because like there's this moment where it's like very tender and very sweet, and then Bowditch says something about it all grumpy, and Charlie says, "You're paying me now. Let me earn my fucking money."
yeah,
So good.
yeah,
Such a good retort. In the hospital, Bowditch is like, I'm going to let you in on a secret. Can you keep a secret? And he's like drilling him, like, you cannot tell
yeah,
anybody. So presumably they have this conversation in the hospital, but all we see is a flash forward to Charlie like writing a number down on his arm, and Bowditch is like, "You got all that?" And Charlie's like, "Yep, I understand." And then like he asks him another question on the way out, but like you don't get to hear what the big reveal is. And then Charlie goes back to Bowditch's house and like opens up the safe, and little by little you're getting all the information as to like how Bowditch has all this money and everything. And then he goes to sell it to Heinrich. Um, and I thought Heinrich was a great character. but he goes to sell it to Heinrich, and every like I don't know 5 minutes or so, you're getting like 30 seconds of the conversation that they were having, and he's giving him like you're getting flashbacks to the steps that Bowditch was telling him to do as Charlie is doing it in real time. And it felt very cinematic and very cool, I think, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Sorry, I'm just thinking.
I loved Charlie used this phrase a couple times. He called it a bird beshitted statue.
There's a couple of those. He
Yeah.
uses a couple weird
Yeah.
phrases that I thought were kind of cool.
Yeah.
Be shitted was one. There's
Beshitted.
other ones too, though. There's
Mhm.
other like words like that I was surprised by. I don't remember what they are.
Yeah.
That bothers me because there was like a very specific one. Ah,
Yeah. Yeah, there
I
was
was
some
like,
good
dude,
ones.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, galoot.
Oh yeah, galoot was a
Oh,
new word
yeah,
for me.
that's a new word.
Did you
Yep.
look it up?
No, I never looked it up. I just figured it was like a big hunky guy, you know? Like what a galoot that guy is.
Yeah, it means like a big guy who's kind of clumsy. He's like kind of
Oh, okay.
like like a big guy who maybe doesn't realize like the space that he takes up. Um,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And so he describes himself as a galoot. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
And
A 6'4" galoot who lettered in 4 sports.
yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a great quote where like they're talking about Charlie's dad coming to meet Adrian, and
Yeah.
he's like, he probably wants to make sure I'm not molesting you. And Charlie's like, in his condition, Adrian couldn't have molested or Bowditch couldn't have molested a Boy Scout, let alone a 6'4" galoot who lettered in
Yeah,
two sports.
that's right. That's right.
It was so funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
So funny. What did you think of the scene of Charlie selling the gold? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it wasn't. I'll be honest, because I know you like Heinrich. It wasn't a scene that all stood out to me a whole lot. Like I don't. Not that it was bad, but
Yeah.
I guess it's not something that caught my eye as much.
Yeah,
I thought that afterwards, learning that Heinrich was murdered was a big deal,
sure.
and then meeting Polly Pocket, whatever the frick his name was,
Polly Pocket.
something I don't know.
Yeah, Chris
what was
Polly.
his name? Chris Polly. Thank you. And seeing him, then I was like, oh, okay, this is a
Yeah.
deal going on here. But at
Yeah.
first, I just thought he was kind of a confidant, the new Bowditch, and it was kind of cool. He's like, I've known Bowditch for a long time. This is the deal that I've always given him. Blah blah blah.
Right.
Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because actually in Twilight of all things, in the final book, there is someone very much like Heinrich that deals with the Colons and like buys their things over the years. Like they'll go sell him things, or they'll like buy fake passports from him or whatever. And it was kind of a similar scene, so maybe that's kind of why I liked it. But I thought
Big Twilight guy, are you?
yeah, right. No, I just it was
just
like
kidding.
I just think that scene in Twilight was an interesting idea because, like, yeah, if you're an eternal vampire, you need to have a guy that can get you
for
new
sure.
licenses
Gotta
and
have some connections. Yeah, every
Yeah.
60 years or something. Or
Right.
probably sooner, 30 years.
yeah, probably sooner. And I had just never really thought about that until I had read it in Twilight, and
Yeah.
I always thought it was a cool idea. But Heinrich is interesting because he's got this deal with Bowditch, and he's never really screwed him over or anything, at least that we can tell, other than not paying him market value for the gold. He's paying him about what was it, 6 or 8 grand less than the market value per ounce or per pound or whatever. And so I just thought it was interesting where Adrian is this guy, like on your first read at this point, you don't know that Adrian is like super old.
Yeah.
And you're like, he's got this gold somehow. Like, how does he have this gold? And then Charlie is going and meeting up with this shady guy. And the meeting seems to go pretty well, but then Heinrich like grabs his shoulder and he's like, where does he get his gold? And like
Yeah.
this new like personality comes out of Heinrich. And so I just thought it was like an interesting idea altogether where like at that point in the book, if you're on your first read, you really don't know what the hell is going on. And so it was just kind of thrilling, and it had me guessing. I personally didn't guess leprechauns, but
You should have. It was
I should have.
obvious.
I
It was
know.
obvious.
Damn it. Um, but it was incredibly interesting for me. And I thought that Heinrich was going to become a bigger player. And if I had to criticize anything or kind of if I had to like guesstimate on what this book could have been, I think it would have been interesting if maybe the fantasy thing had been the very end of the book and they had done away with the whole like the kingdom is like gray or whatever, and instead had the majority of the book be like Charlie versus Heinrich or like Charlie versus Chris Pauli or something, and have that be the big conflict of the book, and have Bowditch kind of in the middle, and maybe Bowditch doesn't die until later. Um, and I don't know. I think that would have been really interesting, and there was potential for a good, not like crime story, but it would have just been interesting
I
to.
was gonna say that sounds like a different book series.
Right, yeah. So I don't know. I think I like it the way it is, but I also think it could have been interesting to explore Heinrich a little bit more, which is why I have justice for Heinrich down there, because I think
Yeah, I like that.
he left too
He
soon.
deserves some justice. God dang it.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, a couple great quotes from Bowditch. I feel like 10 pounds of shit in a 9-pound bag.
Dude, we have to use that somewhere.
I know. I laughed so hard when I heard it. I was
Gotta
like,
use that.
"Oh my god!" Because it makes you think of like all this shit in a super thin bag,
Yeah,
and it's like
and the shit's
straining against
overflowing.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, yeah. Yeah, it does. That's good. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. I've got a
Yeah.
couple people I think I could use that around that would really enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like 10 pounds of shit in a 9-pound bag.
Yeah.
Uh, um, oh yeah, and then so Bowditch comes home, and the nurse like pulls him to the side or whatever, and she's like, I need to talk to you like on your own. And they get out to the porch, and just from the other room you hear Bowditch yell, whatever you're talking about, that young man will not be delivering any enemas. that that killed me. It was so
Yeah.
like so quick, and
Yep. Bowditch don't fuck around, dude.
yeah. And then she tells him that he might need to do an enema or suppository.
Yeah, that
which was
exactly. And then
funny.
also like changes bedpans and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Right.
And Charlie the whole time was like, okay, yeah,
Yep.
all right, let's do
Yeah.
it. I'll take care of this fucking old asshole.
Yep. Yep. There was a sad moment between Bowditch and Charlie where he says, he's kind of talking about the end, and he's like, I've almost and this is the moment that just like it just makes me tear up every single time. I teared up both times I read this.
Yeah. Well,
during
I
this
started
quote.
crying just now when I was talking about the dog old. So
Yeah,
it's a very
exactly.
sad book.
He's like, he says, I've almost had enough. I know that's hard to believe. Not quite, but almost. But I didn't want to leave her alone. We're pals, her and I. But now I don't have to worry. If she outlives me, you'd take her, wouldn't you?
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like, oh God, right in the heart.
Yeah.
Right in the heart. Such a good quote. It's fantastic. Um, and I love the uncertainty too. Like I love the for dramatic purposes. I love
Yeah.
the
The like,
uncertainty
wouldn't
of like
you?
they're like he's like
Wouldn't you do
you
that?
would, wouldn't you? Like man.
Yeah.
And then as Radar gets older over the next couple months, you know, Bowditch is telling him, he's like, no, you have to stay in football. Like, I'll come to your games. And wouldn't that be a great scene, Bowditch coming to one of Charlie's
Yeah.
games? That'd be so good. But Charlie's like, no, like I have to take care of Radar, and your like leg is fucked up. And he's like, it's fine, like you deserve to like go play football or whatever. And he's like, you know, like what? Like she's just gonna shit on the floor? He's like, I'll put newspaper down. He's like, you know that she would hate that. And I just love this just this back and forth about both of
Yeah.
them care like Bowditch cares about Charlie and Charlie cares about Radar and
Yeah.
Bowditch,
Yeah.
but like I love this moment where we are finally at the point where Bowditch is truly caring about Charlie, and they've had like heart to hearts, and they've
Yep.
had like moments together. Um, and you know, I'm a dog person too, but I think you're like very much a dog person,
I'm
and
like the dog person.
yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
to
exactly.
my pain frequently.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for me with this book, I mean, it's really hard to decide between the two because you know I love Radar, but I almost liked the relationship with Charlie and Bowditch more than the relationship with Charlie and Radar.
Yeah.
Just because you know Radar is easy to love. You know, she's a dog, she's a happy dog, a
Yeah,
lovable
there's
dog.
there's dogs aren't complex, you know.
Right.
There's a big, and I would agree with you. There's something about human emotions that are complex that are
Right.
very much more, you know, I don't want to say prevalent, but they're more
Complicated,
complicated. Yeah, they're more
you know?
complicated. And you can love a dog just as much as you love a person, which I
Yes.
do
Yep.
every day.
Yep.
So I love that dog more than I love most people, in fact.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
For sure.
and but I also get, you know, I get the other side of that too. So I think that's
Yeah.
fair. I think that's totally fair. Human emotions are really important,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, like a dog, as much as we love them and care for them, you know,
Yeah.
they can't have complex emotions with us. It's
Right.
just not
Right.
something they can do.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is, you know, for all the moments that I loved with Radar, I loved the moments with Bowditch. Like I would just go back and reread some of the because I just I heard a rumor somewhere that this is either getting made into a movie or a TV show, which is going to be awesome because I just want to see Charlie and Bowditch
Yeah.
hanging out on summer nights and watching The Voice
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
talking about, you
His
know,
favorite show, which is
yeah,
crazy.
so funny. Yeah, I thought it was
Uh,
great. I'm such a big fan of The Voice. I love that show so
yeah.
much.
Oh, me too. Totally. Yeah.
And so I
I'm all
just thought it
about
was great that that was their
about that.
thing.
That's one of the shows that gives me the chills sometimes. When
Oh
you hear like a
yeah.
singer comes on that really blows you out of the water, it's
Oh
like
yeah.
it's a thrilling experience. It's like
Yeah.
holy crap.
I've gone on YouTube binges of
Me
just
too.
like
Golden Buzzer?
best The Voice contestants
Have you
like
gone on Golden Buzzer binges?
no, what's the Golden Buzzer?
Well, okay, maybe the Golden Buzzer is America's Got Talent, but most of those shows have got like a special thing where all the judges decide like this is
Right.
the best show ever
Yeah, and
and
they
they get a
hit the
pass. Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Well, no, like more than that. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different show, but
Okay. I'll check out the Golden Buzzer for sure.
yeah, that's I'm pretty sure that's America's Got Talent, but it's also really good. A lot of singers go on there and they get
Yeah.
the Golden Buzzer. It's a big deal,
Nice.
life changing.
Okay, cool. But yeah, those scenes of them like watching The Voice or just like staying up and talking reminded me so much of like my grandma and I,
Yeah.
where we would stay up and like every now and then we would find a show that we both like enjoyed. And one of them for us was The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, that's a good one.
And so she and I would just stay up like comically late. Like my grandma is a night owl. Like
Yeah.
she will stay up hella late watching
Huh.
TV.
Wow.
And so she and I would just like kick it and watch The Big Bang Theory or something similar way into the night.
Yeah.
Um
2, 3, 4 a.m.
with like 1 a.m. 1 a.m. or so. And yeah, it was just I don't know. I just really like those scenes. It reminded me of my grandma. I also this quote from Bowditch. I forget what Charlie says, but it makes Bowditch say, "The humor of young people is crude and rarely funny," and then hangs up.
Yeah.
Just made me crack up.
Yep.
And then Charlie does this thing that drives me nuts. And he goes up to Radar and he's like, "Who's your goo 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 goo," and like does all like the baby talk to
Yep.
Radar. And I felt a kinship with Bowditch when he turns to Charlie. He's like, "Enough of the baby talk. She's almost 14 years
Yeah.
old."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Thank you, Bowditch. I think it's fair to talk to a dog like a dog, but some of the people that have their dog in like a baby carrier and they're just like, who's a little munchkin," is like, oh my god, okay.
Yeah. I definitely have. Yeah, that's funny you say that because I'm pretty sure I'm one of those people.
I think you are. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I don't keep dogs in carriers or nothing. Our
Sure.
dogs are roam free on the property, but I definitely have a different voice for my dogs. That's for sure,
Sure.
and it's very much a
High pitch,
cutie,
like,
high pitched, cutie,
yeah,
very excited voice.
right.
Yeah.
Another great quote after Bowditch goes into the shed or whatever, he's got his gun belt on, and Charlie says, where'd you get that holster or whatever?" He's like, "Where'd you get that holster?" And there's so much other shit going on that Bowditch kind of gives him this look like, we got bigger things to worry about. And
Shut your mouth.
so Charlie says, "Where'd you get that holster?" And Bowditch just says, "At the getting place." Like, what the fuck does that mean? At the getting place.
That's a good way to shut somebody down, dude.
Yeah.
Where'd you
At
get
the
that
getting
watch?
place.
At the place you get things. I don't
So
want to tell you where
funny.
I got it. At the place we get things.
Yeah. So then Bowditch dies. And he calls Charlie in the middle of class, and Charlie,
He
you
calls
know,
Charlie like mid dying of a heart attack,
right, yeah, and he's
which
like,
is pretty hardcore.
I'm dying of a heart
He's like, I'm
attack,
having
like,
a heart attack right this second. I'm going to die.
right,
Like, this is what you need to know.
yeah,
There's
and
a cassette tape up in the safe. You need to watch it.
yep, and it's so important because imagine if he hadn't made that phone call. Yes, there's still the cassette tape that Charlie could find at some point, but he may not find it for months and months and months, or even if he did,
That
he may not listen to it for months and months and
Yeah, he
months.
probably wouldn't take it to heart.
Yeah,
He would probably listen to it and say, "This is some crazy shit that this old guy did,"
right.
at some point in time. But with the death rattle phone call he got, I
Yeah,
mean, it's
right.
kind of like, listen, you have to watch this and you
Yeah,
have to believe it because it's true. And I'm telling you this as I'm dying. Watch the
right.
video.
Right. There's a quote that just ripped my heart out from Charlie. He's kind of wandering aimlessly. He doesn't really know what to do. Bowditch he's like gone to the hospital, and then they called him saying that he didn't make it. And so Charlie's just kind of like walking around the neighborhood, or maybe he's on his bike or whatever. He says, I stopped by our house, but Dad wouldn't be there for hours. Meanwhile, there was a dog that needed me. I
Yeah.
guess she really was my dog now, and there was a hole where I'd had a friend.
Mm,
Oh God, it kills
yeah,
me. It kills
heartbreaking.
me. Just the period of time after Bowditch dies
It's rough.
is so tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we get him listening to the tape, and he gets to hear all of the crazy shit. And I love that Bowditch was like, just go inside, just go in the door, just
Yeah.
like you can disregard everything I just said, just go in the door and look.
Yep.
And I love that he did, and he took the gun and he goes in there and he sees this big like cockroach looking thing, like alien cockroach.
Yep.
And he's like, what the fuck? And so then, just eventually, listening to more of the tape and being convinced to go down there and check it out. But before he goes down there, another part that just broke my heart, because my dog does this with my clothes. If there's no like blanket nearby or something, Radar, when he takes Radar back to Bowditch's house, and it's been like ransacked and all this stuff, Radar is like going around looking for her owner, and she goes to the couch and she looks at Charlie like, where is he? Like, where's my guy?
Yep.
And Charlie, it's like, how do you explain that to a dog?
Yeah.
And she like didn't want any treats, she didn't want her leash, didn't want any of that stuff. And she makes her way upstairs, and Charlie finds her like sitting in the closet, like on Bowditch's old clothes, and
Yeah.
that just broke my
Yeah.
heart. Broke my heart.
There's a couple of really sad moments where Radar's like looking for Charlie, or not Charlie, Adrian
Yeah.
Bowditch. I can't find him, and Charlie's like, I don't,
I
he's
don't know
not
what to
here,
tell
girl.
you.
He's
He's
not
not
here.
here. Ah.
He won't be back. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. And then even with there was like a funeral, and as Bowditch was being like lowered into the ground, Radar like howled.
Yeah.
That was a not a good scene, but like it was sad. It
It's
was
emotional scene.
yeah, it was emotional.
Yeah.
We talked about Charlie's first trip to Impus. He meets Dora and kind of decides, okay, I'm gonna go back for the dog and come back. And then we meet Chris Pauly. Haha.
Aha.
What did what did you think of this scene where he's like he fucks up Chris Pauly so bad? Like
Yeah.
he breaks both of his wrists.
Yeah. Breaks his hands.
Yeah.
Yep. Shatters both his wrists.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, good riddance, dude. The dude
Yeah.
had a gun to the back of his head.
Right.
I was really hoping that Charlie was gonna do some judo shit on his ass, and he did. So I'm happy with that. He
Yeah.
deserved it. Screw that leprechaun.
Yeah. Right. So one of my next notes, I skipped a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But when we eventually meet Claudia, she has a great
Oh yeah.
just a
I know.
great couple
I
quotes.
know what this one is. She's got a
I-
three-liner that's the best ever.
Yeah, I love they're like trying to go fast, and she's like, strain your pooper.
Yeah.
Like,
And she says it in the most innocent, like,
Yeah.
very serious way. Like,
Yeah.
that is the thing that is said.
Yeah.
Strain your pooper and run.
and she's yelling everything because she's
Yeah,
deaf.
she can't hear. Yeah,
And
exactly.
so she doesn't know how loud she's talking. She's like, strain your pooper, just like screaming it. So funny. The narrator did a great job with Claudia. And then those who answer nobly have a way of dying with their pants full of shit. It's great.
Yep.
Radar goes on the sundial, gets younger and younger. I teared up. But I also kind of think if she was 14 and she went around 6 times, that would bring her down to 8 years old. I'm like, keep her on for like a couple more rotations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely would have brought her down to like 3 years old for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I didn't really understand that either.
Yeah. It seemed like he was getting freaked out way too early.
Yep.
I'm like, keep going, dude.
He was already
Keep-
there.
Yeah, keep going.
I get the fear of like, killing her,
Going
or
too far,
making her
yeah.
non-existent, because
Right.
that's what'll happen.
Yeah.
So I understand that because it's just one circle is a year. So like, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
so I guess I get that part, but yeah, you
Sure.
know, at least she got, you know, she got half of her life renewed, and so
Right.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's superb.
Yeah.
Well, more, yeah, yeah, a little less than half.
Yeah.
Um,
But I mean, I don't know. It maybe it did something else too, or maybe Charlie just took really good care of her after that point, because if she goes down to, he didn't know exactly how old she was, but she's somewhere between 6 and 8, somewhere around there. Um, and we know that at the end of the book, in the epilogue, it's 9 years later and she's still alive.
yeah,
So she's lived a good long life. But I'm also glad that Stephen King didn't show us the death of Radar or anything. That would have
me
sucked.
too. I
That would have
probably would have
sucked.
not finished the book if that was the
Right.
case.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so then Charlie gets taken, and we actually get a little like mini POV chapter of Radar,
Yeah, the
where she's
dream.
like running and she
Yep.
she fights the urge to go back to her master.
Yeah,
She has her orders. She knows to get to Dora and all that stuff. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
yeah.
Um, okay, the rest of this we've already talked about. But I just want to say one thing. Why would Stephen King name his character I for Iota? Did this drive you nuts? Where like the character
Oh,
they
yeah,
they
the guy I met in the prison.
yeah, they would call him I. So he would say, you know, let's get out of prison, I said. And so I'm thinking that it's Charlie that said it.
Yeah,
I said.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh
yeah.
no, it's Iota.
I
I'm
wonder
like,
if it was spelled differently, like even in the
yeah.
shortened,
I wonder if it was like
like maybe it's something
AYE or
us as
something.
Audible readers missed or like didn't
Yes.
couldn't catch.
Right. I
Yeah,
that would have to be it, because
I
I'm
would
like,
hope that's the case.
yeah, because I'm like, naming your character I is just not a great
Sketchy.
move.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a sketchy move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like his character though a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought he was pretty
I know
good.
you kind of skipped the prison part, but I
I
liked
mean,
him.
I read it the first time.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I skipped it on the reread.
yeah.
Um, what did you think about the final battle where Charlie is like saying Gog Magog over and over?
Dude, I thought it was awesome because
Yeah.
the entire book is foreshadowing to that moment once he gets to this other world.
Is it? Okay, explain that.
Yeah. So when he gets there, he's hearing about this name, Gog Magog,
Yeah.
right? And the name is to not be spoken as to not wake what sleeps in the deep well.
Right.
Every time he says that word, the earth shakes as if it's in pain.
Oh, I didn't
There's
catch
been
that.
he's mentioned it or he's like whispered it to somebody and he's like, oh, the earth shook, the lights changed, blah blah blah. And he
Yeah.
finally made the connection at the end that the reason why the earth shakes because when that name is said is because
It
that
causes
name
it
is
pain.
it's not to be known. It's not supposed to be known. And
Okay.
so like he has an epiphany where he's like he correlates it to another fairy tale which I do not know. I don't know what that would
Yeah,
be.
I think that was the part that confused me, because he said it was a story that his mother read to him as a child,
Something.
and I was kind of put off because I was like, well, but we never got told about that story. Like, it's not like we had a scene at the beginning of the book
No,
where
yeah,
Charlie's
no, we
like, my
don't
mom used to
know.
read me this story. I think it would have been nice to have a little bit of foreshadowing, but I completely missed everything you're talking about, so that changes it quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah. And then once he like has that epiphany and he's like, wait, I know why, I know why the earth shakes when the name that's not supposed to be spoken is because
Yeah,
it's actually hurting this monster.
right,
But everybody's been led to believe that it's awakening this monster. It's not.
right,
And so he just
okay,
starts spewing out Gog Magog over and over again and fucking sends that bitch to the netherworld.
right, okay.
Yeah.
So we get through all the end stuff, and I think it's Leia that's asking him. He's like, well, well, Bowditch went on the sundial and he's a good person. And then the more he thought about it, the more he was like,
Well, because Leia talks about the darkness, like
yeah,
the darkness that is in people. And
yeah.
do you remember what she correlates the wheel and the darkness to? She because there's like that is attached. The inner darkness of people and the wheel has a correlation.
Oh, interesting. I may have
I
missed that.
just
Maybe like
yeah
greed, like the
I
greed of
can't
life, or
something like that. I can't remember. I wish I could though, because I
yeah,
felt it was important at the time.
sure. Yeah, well, it's interesting because the whole time, Bowditch tells us that, going on the wheel has consequences. You have to pay the taxes for it every year.
Yeah.
But we don't know what that is.
Well, we do
And
know that it makes anybody infertile, so it
yes,
gives
it
life, but it also takes it in the sense you can never bear children.
right. Yep, it'll make you infertile, and it also sounds like it just kind of makes you it takes your goodness away, like your natural like human goodness, and it the more you do it, the more it turns you into like a
Yeah,
shell of your former self.
yeah,
And makes you more like a leprechaun maybe.
maybe.
And
I hope so.
yeah. um and so Leah has this great quote where she says, well, because Charlie says, but Bowditch was a good person, and then he was thinking his head, he's like, maybe not.
Yeah,
And then Leia's like, was he good on his own, or did you make him good, Prince
yeah,
Charlie? And that's such a good distinction, because when we meet Bowditch, Charlie says it himself. If he hadn't come along out of his own goodness, Bowditch would have died
would
unremarked, leaving the
yep,
passage to Impus unprotected.
yeah,
Um, and so that's really interesting to think about. Where, yeah, maybe Bowditch wasn't a bad person, but he was kind of a shell of his former self, and he was
yeah,
grumpy. He didn't want anything to do with anybody. And then here comes Charlie, and he's spreading his own goodness to Bowditch.
yep.
And that's another reason why I really like Charlie as a character.
It's a good dude. Charlie's a good dude.
Yep,
A good galoot.
a good galoot. We talked about Leah, how every time she looks at Charlie, she thinks about how he forced her to face the truth, and that's a whole thing that drove me nuts about her.
Yeah,
But Charlie does berate her brother and sister for not
that's
making
right.
Leah face the truth.
Yeah, and he
Um,
like doesn't just berate him. He like slams them.
yes,
He's like, "How
absolutely.
dare you? How
Yeah.
dare you do
He,
such a thing?"
he's like, you
I was like
knew.
genuinely surprised by that.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think that he was had that in him, but then I thought about it and I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
he does. He's got the will to stand up for what's right.
Yep.
And
Yep.
what they did was wrong.
Right. Yeah. And then they have the audacity, the audacity of this entire family, I swear to God. But the audacity of these two to say, yeah, we knew, but she needed you. It was always you that was supposed to tell her.
Yeah, it's a cop out.
It's a huge cop out. That is some copium.
Yeah. Copium.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was just like, oh my God, the audacity.
Yeah.
And then Charlie got a gold doorknob, a gold door knocker or whatever.
Gold door knocker that weighed like 8 pounds,
Yeah. But
which
he
is like
says
hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of
well,
gold.
he says he says that it weighed 4 pounds and that it
Oh.
was worth about $80,000.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's kind of like a year's wage. I'm like, so why did he not leave there? Because on his way out, people are asking, like, what do you want? We'll give you anything you want. Why did he not say, I want to fill a wagon up with gold shit and take that
Yeah.
home? Like, I'm like, dude, I mean, between, like, yeah, you have a bucket full of gold at the house, but that's not going to last you forever. And this door knocker isn't going to last you forever.
So gold, if 4 pounds cost 80,000 back then,
Yeah.
it would cost $250,000 now.
Wow. Yeah, so maybe he just hangs on to it. That's another thing is
Hopefully, that would
that
be the smart move.
yeah, is that he can hang on to a lot of this gold and the price is
Plus
only going to go
he's got
up.
all of Bowditch's gold pellets that he could just
Yeah,
sell off an ounce at a time for 50 grand, or
right.
probably back then less, 20
Sure.
grand. But just like, oh, I need 20K.
Yeah,
Four pellets. Here you go. I got
right.
90 more here. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God. And I think one thing I wish the book had addressed at the end is where his new gold connection was going to be. Because he was
Yeah,
like,
that's
once Heinrich died, it's like, where's he going to sell gold to? And
yep,
so it would have been cool if we had gotten that question answered.
for sure. Yeah.
But then on his way out, Eris fucks him. She just like comes up to him and she's like, "Would you lay with me?"
Yeah,
And
that's
he's like,
right.
"Sure."
Yeah. And it
um,
was his first time, I think, right?
yeah, it was his first
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And
Um,
doesn't he say something like he's like, it was my first time, but it was a really good
yeah, it
time
was
or
a
some
really
shit
good
like
time.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, it was
That's funny.
great. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I don't remember any like physical description of Eris. I don't remember if the book
I
says
don't
that she's
either.
like particularly good looking or anything.
But
Um,
as a virgin,
yeah,
mm.
any dock in a storm or any whatever.
Yeah, I saw that. You had to hold back your tongue for a second there.
The what is this thing? The scrub or the squib or the red uh grasshopper looking thing? Cricket?
Oh yeah, I forget. Oh, it's fuck. What is it called? It's not the scrub. I know that,
Yeah.
but it is. It is
It
the
starts with an
king.
S.
Yeah, it starts with an S. I don't know that name, but it's the king of all small things.
Yeah,
It is.
that was a really cool character. I
Yeah, it
liked
was
that
super cool.
it was very something we haven't really talked about, but something Stephen King did really well in this book is he made the fantasy portion feel very fairy tale. Like
Yeah,
the woman in the shoe has this deal with people where she takes their old shoes, she gives them a token, then they have to walk barefoot to her brother who gives them a brand new pair of shoes.
yep,
And it's very like
yeah,
it's just the kind of flow and like logic and stuff that you see in fairy tales.
yeah.
And so I liked that with this cricket, whatever its name was, he finds this little hobbit guy torturing it, and he saves it, and because of doing that good deed, then the cricket ends up coming back to help him. And it just so happens that the cricket is like the king of the crickets or whatever. And it's just very poetic. It's very fairy tale. It's very
The snap,
it,
snap.
yeah, the snap. That sounds right. Snab.
Yeah, yep.
Um, and yeah, it's very
Lord of
it's
small
almost like a
things.
proverb kind of
Yeah,
thing. I really like that. So Charlie goes home. He sees posters of himself. It's been over 4 months since he's been gone.
yeah,
His
yeah.
dad is worried sick.
The
Um,
reuniting with his dad was fucking awesome.
yeah, that was great. Charlie then kind of butts in to say, "Hey, like I've been writing all this. I've been writing this story. It's 9 years later while I'm writing this."
Yep.
And he's like, "I'm a professor of folklore and mythology at Chicago College of Liberal Arts." He's like, "Radar's still doing good." He's like, "I can't answer a lot of the questions that you probably have because we ended up pouring concrete over the door to Impus."
Yeah,
And I was like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me." I
yeah. That's crazy. But at the same time, like I could you imagine? Could you imagine what would happen if somebody else found out about it? Somebody that would
yeah,
say something found out about it.
yeah.
I mean, it would be those people would be tortured and
But like
mutilated.
do that at the end of your life. Like while you're there, you can protect it. Um
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fair. I think he was just trying to close the chapter, and
yeah,
the
I
people
think
in
he was trying to be
Empus
done with it.
were like, they're on track. They got their shit to figure
Yeah.
out, but they're safe now, and
Yeah.
they can govern themselves.
Yeah.
Because he did go back several times after he left that last time. He took his dad back. He went back once by himself. I'm pretty sure. I think.
I think he just took his dad back. I think he left and he took his dad back, and that was another thing that I was kind of like bummed about. It's like at least introduce your dad to Dora, you know?
Yeah, he
Or
didn't, but he mentioned he's like, I didn't want to. I can't remember what he says, but he was Charlie was specific on why he did not want to introduce his dad to Dora.
yeah, he said I didn't bring you here for a meet and greet.
Yeah,
And I'm like, why the hell not though? Like
yeah, I
take
think I don't know. It's tough, dude. I can see both sides of it. I can see
and
both
it's
sides.
like
I can
wouldn't
see
like
wanting to like not
yeah,
wanting to, you're done with it. It's
yeah,
been done. You got your heart broken by this fucking chick who's the queen. That
yeah.
sucks. Save the planet that
She's
you're in
not
with,
worth it, Charlie.
which
She's
is
not
not
worth
really a
it.
planet. I could see just being like, I'm here to prove my dad that what I was saying was not a lie.
Right.
Dad, it's not a lie. You saw it. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, that's
But
so it's so like heartbreaking though, because it's
I know.
like say goodbye to Dora one last
Oh, for
time. Like
sure. It would
bring
have been
Radar
so
down there
fucking
one last
sweet, dude.
time, you
Yeah.
know?
It's been so awesome. Seeing
Yeah.
Radar again 9 years later, not that long,
Yeah. It
like
but
for
but
8 months, whatever.
after
Yeah,
the
but
fact,
after
you
would
know.
be super cool.
Yeah. Um and so I don't know. I was like man, it would like who else can do this? Like take your dad give your dad the tour, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like yeah, I
yeah,
was kind of like, damn it, Charlie.
yeah.
Okay.
That's fair. That's fair.
Um, but yeah, he takes him to Impus. His dad did not continue drinking. And then his
Which
dad,
was amazing.
yeah, which is
Let's just
great,
give some props to that dude
right?
for not drinking
Yeah.
after your son disappears after your wife died.
Yep. Yep.
Good
That would
fucking job, dude.
that would be tough. That would be tough. Um, and then uh, and then yeah, he says that he kind of moved around a bit, but his dad was taking care of the house for a while, and was making sure that it was all kept up and everything,
Yeah.
and keeping an eye on the door and everything. And he's like, someday I'll have kids and they'll inherit the house. And there's a great quote that ends the book. He's talking about his kids, and he says, "And when they are small, and wonder is all they know, I will read them the old stories, the ones that begin with once
Mm,
upon a time."
that is good.
I'm like, that was a great final quote.
Yep,
That's a great way to end the
for sure.
story. Going into final thoughts, I do wish that there was potential for a sequel. Like I wish like
Oh, dude,
it'd
be
be
so
so
awesome.
cool if he's older, or maybe Radar's getting old again and he's like,
Something happens and the well opens up again and he has to go and like,
yeah, it's like, should I take
ah,
her back to the sundial? Like
yeah.
that would be a great story. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's ever, a way for Stephen King to kind of revisit this, but that'd be cool. Um, and then also something we didn't talk about that much was the doggy speed that Radar gets, and that period of time where Radar is like limping around and not able to move very well. And they get to Impus, and at first Radar is energized, but then her health is like quickly deteriorating, and he has to put her like in this cart,
And
and
even
like,
then, she's not eating. She's rejecting
mm-hmm,
food. She won't take treats, which for a dog, that's a really bad sign. Really
right,
bad.
yep. Um, and it was just brutal. It was so tough, and
Yeah,
and I texted you right after I read the
dude.
the scene where she goes on the wheel.
Yeah,
And I was like, I thought Stephen King was about to kill the dog. I I
yeah.
thought
I
I
think
thought
my
that
reply
Charlie
was,
wasn't gonna.
"Thank God he
Yeah,
didn't. Thank
thank God he
God."
didn't. Yeah,
I don't think I could have handled the book if that was the case, dude.
I know.
Even
Yeah,
even at those points, I was like listening at work, and I was like, it was tough, dude. I was like, I either
yeah,
need to leave and just cry and listen to this, or I need to
yep,
stop listening to it.
yeah. Well, yeah. I think I texted. It was either you or somebody, and I was like, I'm literally at work, like crying, like
Yeah.
hard, like not like little tears, like I was getting choked up real
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, this might win the award for most emotional book of the year for me,
Yeah.
because it made me cry a lot.
For sure.
Um, the one last complaint I have, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I think the reason why, like probably the reason why I didn't like the prison section of the book so much is because you have Charlie and Bowditch and Radar, who are kind of like your team. They're like your people that you care about.
Yeah.
And then Bowditch dies, so there goes one of your favorite characters. And then it's just
And then
Charlie.
Radar leaves. Yeah.
And then Radar leaves, and it's just Charlie on his own.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
like,
fair.
why separate your two best characters for an extended period of time? Like Radar doesn't come back until way later, and then even then she doesn't play a big role.
But yeah,
Um,
Radar. So Radar, when Charlie got captured, he told Radar to run, girl, run, and she
yeah,
didn't
go to
want to. And he said,
Claudia's. Yeah.
"Go to Claudius now," and she listened.
Hmm.
And he didn't see her again until he escaped. And so it's,
Right.
it's not like it was like a crazy timeline thing. Like
Right.
he was in prison, he couldn't
Yep.
see her.
Right.
And so as much as that sucked, I didn't like them being separated. I was like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. It makes sense, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like he was captured. She's
Yeah.
at Claudia's. She went straight there because he told her to.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yep. I know. I think the book just kind of lost some of its big character moments
Yeah,
when Radar got separated
for sure.
a
Well,
little
she is
bit.
the main character, so
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think those are all my final thoughts. Any kind of final musings from this book?
Not really. I'm thoroughly happy with this conversation and
Yeah.
with the read.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very
I
glad. Very glad that we read it. That I was recommended it again by somebody else other than you.
yeah.
No,
Yeah, for sure. No,
just
I'm
kidding.
glad
I'm
I'm
kidding.
glad he did. I'm because
Yeah,
even me when I had brought it up before, I was like I wasn't like we need to read this book. It was
yeah,
more
for
like
sure.
I've kind of heard about this book and like maybe we check it
Yeah,
out.
and
And so
I'm sure you've told me about it, but he went on this rant explaining to me, and
yeah.
I was like, dude, it sounds like exactly the book that I would enjoy. He's like, there's a
Yeah.
dog. The dog's
Yep.
very important. I was like, all right,
Yep.
sold. That's all you had
Yeah,
to say.
I'm glad he did because I don't know like it might have taken me a long
I would have
time to
not read this book if
yeah,
if not, dude.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would have had to have read it and then fought for me to read it after because
Right.
it was so good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So
which is what happens with most books.
yeah, yeah. So I'm glad we did. I had a great time with it. I think it's probably a contender for my top 5. Like it's probably up there.
Yeah,
I'll have to think about it some more because there's some amazing books coming out at the end of the year.
yep,
And so we'll have to see how those go. But as of right now, I think it's up there for me with like Blood Over Brighthaven. And I think it's probably one of my favorites of the year for sure. So
heck yeah,
yeah,
it's awesome.
great read. I had a great time.
Yep, Stephen King's done it again. I also really
No,
quick,
go ahead.
after I read this, I was doing some research on it, and everywhere I read it, and even actually on the podcast that we were on, the live that we were on recently,
Uh-huh.
it was The Institute by Stephen King was mentioned.
Yes.
That's another one that's on my radar, real close. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be reading that book soon. Right now,
Yeah.
I'm reading Red Rising again, and I'm gonna finish it all the way through.
You're reading Red Rising again?
I'm almost done with the first book.
Sick. That makes me
Yeah,
so happy.
yeah,
That makes me
because
so happy.
I'm gonna finish the first and second trilogy. So
Very good. Very good.
yeah,
Yeah, after reading this book, I had this thought where I was like the older Stephen King books, I haven't really been a huge fan of, like Salem's Lot, and I think there was one other
we
one.
read that, right?
Yeah,
for the
we
podcast?
read it for a
Yeah.
Halloween episode. Yeah.
Is that the one
Um,
with the old lady that would stand in the like? There was like the city. What was Salem's Lot about?
Salem's Lot was vampires. It was like this little small town, and these kids, people start getting like disappearing, and they're getting turned into vampires, and the whole town kind of gets overrun with them. Honestly, it's
Okay.
not like I don't fault
Okay.
you for not
All right.
remembering it.
Yeah. Fair.
Um, um, I know it's like a cult
Cult
classic
classic.
favorite,
Yeah.
but I just didn't enjoy it that much.
Yep.
And then there was one other old one that we read by him, that I was like, it made me think, I'm like, maybe I just don't like Stephen King. But then I read 11/22/63, where he goes back in time.
I've never read that.
No, you did. You read it.
I did.
Yeah, he there's like a diner, and his friend brings him into the diner, and he goes down these stairs, and it takes him back to the 60s.
Oh shit. Okay, I
And
do remember that.
it's like the killing of Robert or
Yes, I do remember
JFK.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, from what everybody said at the time, like you read it, Chris read it, I read it. It sounded like everyone really loved it.
Yeah, I liked it. I
And
think.
yeah, and I remember you saying that you
Yeah.
liked it a lot. But it made me think, maybe I just like new Stephen King. Like maybe I'm just not like his older books. Maybe
Yeah.
those just don't click for me, because I liked this one. 11/22/63 is a fairly recently written book by him, within the past few years, and so I'm like, I don't know, maybe I just like his newer catalog of books.
Hey, all good.
So the Institute is a newer one. I think the Institute came
Is
out
it
right
actually?
before this
I
one.
thought it was older. I thought it was older. I haven't done any research into it, but I thought
Yeah.
it was older for sure.
Yeah, I think it's one of the very new ones.
Have you read the clip, like the short
Description?
out? Yeah, description of it. Have you read
No,
it?
I haven't, but I think it's
It sounds like
kids
sounds
that get
fucking cool.
kids that have powers that get taken away from their
I think
families
I
and
think it's
taken
a
to the.
kid. Like main character is one kid
Oh,
that's
okay.
maybe in a group of kids, but yeah, they have these powers and they get taken to this institute where they're tested and
Okay.
tortured and
Right.
yeah. So I don't know. It sounds really cool. I
Yeah.
would totally read it. I'm going to.
Okay. Yeah, I listened to the sample for it today.
Oh
And
shit. Okay.
it was just like the first chapter. Like there's
Yeah.
really like you really don't get any info, but
Yeah.
just the way that it was like kind of flowing, I was like, I'm interested in this scene. Like
How
I
was
could
the
keep
narrator?
going.
Was it good?
Good. Yeah, the narrator was
Okay,
great.
cool.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, we
Um,
should definitely get that on Audible
yeah.
then.
Yeah, we should. So yeah, maybe there'll be more Stephen King in the future. That'd be pretty cool. Probably the newer Stephen King stuff is what
Yep.
I'd be mostly interested in. But yeah, I think this was a great read, and I had a great time with it. Obviously, I had, there was a couple things that I kind of like nitpick a little bit. But I think overall it was a damn good book, and
Yeah.
I really don't think that it is deserving of the like mixed or even negative reviews that it gets
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Because even if you hated the second half of the book, I think the first half of the book being a perfect 10 out of 10 more than makes up for that.
For sure.
So
For sure.
yeah, I had a great time.
Yeah. I think yes, 7 out of 10 is a damn good rating. you
Yeah.
know, in
Yep.
the scope of things.
Yeah.
It's a pretty awesome book.
Yep. Well, Gabe, thank you for staying up late tonight and talking about
yeah.
Fairy Tale. I had a great time chatting about it.
Yep.
And that's going to wrap us up for today, everybody. And if you'd like to reach out, we have Twitter, Discord, and Patreon all linked down in the description. You can reach out and chat with us. You can comment on this video. I try to, reply to all the comments that we get and stuff. So you could do that. You could join our Discord, where there's a group of people over there that hang out and chat about books. And then our Patreon, where you get to watch these episodes live as we record them, weeks ahead of when anybody on YouTube gets to see them. But with all that, we are gonna get out of here and get ready to go to bed and everything.
That's me.
Because it's late. We're recording this late. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this book. And until next time, strain your pooper.
Strain your pooper, goddammit.